When you look at the wonders of creation, you see the fingerprint of a master craftsman. Everything God does carries his distinct mark, a signature that cannot be forged or replicated. The same is true in your life. When God intervenes, when he orchestrates a plan, it bears the undeniable evidence of his presence. The first mark of God is excellence. Whatever God touches, he perfects. He is not the author of mediocrity. When he created the heavens and the earth, he stepped back and declared, "It is good." Excellence is a standard, not an option in the kingdom of God. When his hand is on you, it demands that you rise to a higher level, a level where mediocrity is not acceptable, and your life becomes a reflection of his greatness. Another mark of God is purpose. God does nothing by accident. Every tree, every star, every soul has a reason for its existence. You are not here by chance. The challenges you face, the victories you achieve, they are all connected to the divine purpose for your life. When you align yourself with his purpose, you step into a realm of clarity where confusion is replaced by vision and your steps are ordered by his plan. God's mark is also seen in his order. Chaos is not of him. When God speaks, he brings structure. He takes what is void and formless and creates beauty. Look at your life where there is disorder. Invite God to step in. He will establish a divine order, setting priorities that align with his will and bringing peace where there was once turmoil. Another mark is faithfulness. God's word never returns void. He is a promise keeper. If he said it, he will do it. His faithfulness does not depend on your circumstances. It depends on his unchanging character. So when you feel forgotten, when you feel like the promise is delayed, remember that God's faithfulness is not bound by your timeline. Trust him. He is working even when you cannot see it. The mark of God is also seen in his love. His love is sacrificial, unconditional, and transformational. It is the kind of love that finds you at your lowest and lifts you to your highest. It's not a fleeting emotion, but an eternal commitment. When you carry his love, you cannot remain the same. It transforms how you see yourself and how you treat others. God's wisdom is another mark. His thoughts are higher than ours, his ways beyond our comprehension. But when he marks you with his wisdom, he gives you insight that confounds the natural mind. He equips you to make decisions that align with his will, decisions that bring glory to him and blessings to others. Lastly, the mark of God is power. Not just physical strength, but spiritual authority. When God marks you, he empowers you to overcome what others say is impossible. He gives you the power to break chains, to shift atmospheres, and to walk boldly in the calling he has placed on your life. These marks are not random. They are intentional, purposeful, and undeniable. When you allow God to work in your life, you bear these marks as a testament to his presence. And when others see these marks, they cannot deny the power of the God you serve. Excellence is the essence of God's nature. When we examine creation, we see perfection in every detail. The heavens declare his glory, and the earth reflects his craftsmanship. The stars are placed in perfect alignment, the oceans know their boundaries, and the intricate design of every living being speaks of a creator who values precision and beauty. God does not create with mediocrity in mind, he creates with purpose and perfection. When he formed you, he did so with the same standard of excellence. You are not a mistake or an afterthought. Every cell in your body, every gift within you was designed to reflect his glory. Excellence is not just something God does, it is who he is. And when he marks you, that excellence becomes a part of your identity. It calls you higher, challenges you to do better, and demands that you refuse to settle for less than the best. This excellence is not about comparison with others, but about reflecting God's nature in all you do. Whether in your work, your relationships, or your daily walk, his mark of excellence requires that you operate with integrity, diligence, and a commitment to giving your best. It means you do things as if you are doing them directly for him, because in truth you are. You were created to showcase the majesty of a perfect God. The spirit of excellence does not allow for shortcuts or complacency. It pushes you to develop your gifts, to refine your character, and to present the best version of yourself to the world, not for your glory, but for his. This mark sets you apart, making you a reflection of the Creator who does all things well. And as you embrace this mark, you become a vessel through which his excellence shines. Purpose is woven into the very fabric of God's creation. Nothing exists without a reason. Every aspect of the universe is intentional. The sun rises to give light, the rain falls to nourish the earth, and even the seasons change in a precise rhythm to sustain life. This divine order reflects God's unchanging nature and his commitment to purpose. If God's creation follows a purposeful design, how much more does he ensure that your life has meaning? You are not a product of chance or coincidence, but of divine intention. Every event in your life, whether joyful or painful, is part of a grand narrative written by the author of time. You may not understand the details now, but God does not waste experiences. He uses every moment, every triumph, and every setback to prepare you for the destiny he has ordained. Your life is a tapestry, and God is weaving it with care. The threads may look disconnected up close, but step back and you will see the masterpiece he is creating. Understanding your purpose gives clarity to your journey. It answers the questions of why you were born and what you are meant to accomplish. Purpose eliminates confusion and aligns your steps with God's plan. It is not something you have to chase. It is something you discover as you draw closer to him. When you seek his will, you will find that your gifts, talents, and even your struggles have been placed within you for a reason. Purpose brings focus. It keeps you from being distracted by things that do not matter. When you know your purpose, you stop comparing yourself to others because you realize that their journey is not yours. You embrace who you are, confident that God's plan for your life is unique and cannot be duplicated. Purpose is not just about achieving goals. It is about living in alignment with the reason God created you. It's about waking up each day knowing that your existence contributes to something far greater than yourself. When you walk in purpose, you reflect the heart of a God who does all things with intention and precision. Order is one of the undeniable marks of God. From the very beginning, we see him bringing structure to chaos. In the creation story, the earth was formless and void, and darkness covered the deep. But when God spoke, everything changed. Light emerged, the waters were separated from the land, and boundaries were established for the heavens and the earth. This was not randomness, it was divine order at work, turning chaos into beauty and emptiness into purpose. God's nature is one of precision and intentionality. He is not the author of confusion, but the God of clarity and harmony. Wherever he is present, he brings alignment and balance. Think about the natural laws that govern the universe, the rotation of the earth, the cycle of life, and the predictable movement of the stars. All these reflect his commitment to order. This same principle applies to your life. When God's mark is on you, he brings structure to areas that are out of alignment. He doesn't just fix what's broken, he sets things in the right place, ensuring that every part of your life works together for his purpose. When you invite God into your circumstances, he begins to establish divine order. He takes the confusion in your mind and replaces it with peace. He takes the chaos in your relationships and brings restoration. He aligns your priorities so that your focus shifts from temporary distractions to eternal values. This process isn't always comfortable. Sometimes establishing order requires breaking apart what is dysfunctional and rebuilding it according to his design. But when God's order is established, the result is peace that surpasses understanding. Divine order also means recognizing the seasons of your life. Just as the earth operates in cycles, seed time and harvest, summer and winter, God has a timeline for everything. When you submit to his order, you stop rushing ahead or lagging behind. You learn to trust his timing, understanding that he makes everything beautiful in its season. Disorder happens when we resist this process, trying to force outcomes outside of God's will. But when you align yourself with his plan, his order brings clarity and direction. Order is not about perfectionism or control. It's about submitting to God's authority and trusting his design. It's about letting him take the lead, knowing that he sees the bigger picture. When you live in God's order, your life becomes a testimony of his wisdom and sovereignty. Others will look at you and see not confusion, but a person whose steps are guided by the Creator. They will see the evidence of a God who turns chaos into calm and disorder into divine alignment. Faithfulness is one of the most powerful marks of God, and it is unchanging. When God speaks, his word is final. It does not waver, and it never returns void. From the beginning of time, his promises have stood the test of ages. He told Abraham that he would be the father of many nations, even when the circumstances seemed impossible. He assured Moses that he would deliver his people from slavery, even when Pharaoh's heart was hardened. And every time God fulfilled his word, his faithfulness is not dependent on human understanding or earthly conditions. It is anchored in his eternal character. When God marks you with his faithfulness, it means that no matter what challenges you face, he will not abandon you, even in moments when you feel forgotten, when the delay feels unbearable, and when the promise seems out of reach. God is still working. His timing is not our timing, but it is always perfect. The waiting season is not a denial, it is a preparation. God's faithfulness ensures that what he has spoken over your life will come to pass, but it will happen in his way and in his time. Faithfulness is also a reminder that God does not change his mind about you. Humans can be fickle, relationships can shift, and promises can be broken, but God is not like man. What he says, he will do. His commitment to you is unwavering, even when you falter. When you fall short, his faithfulness picks you up. When you doubt, his faithfulness reassures you. His faithfulness is a foundation you can stand on, unshaken by the storms of life. This mark of faithfulness is a shield in times of difficulty. When trials come, you can rest in the knowledge that God is with you. He is not surprised by your circumstances, and he is not intimidated by your obstacles. His faithfulness means that he is not only aware of your situation, but also actively involved in working all things together for your good. What you see as setbacks, he sees as setups for something greater. Faithfulness also carries the assurance that his plans for you are good. He has promised to prosper you, to give you hope and a future. His faithfulness does not waver based on your feelings or your doubts. Even when you cannot see the path ahead, his faithfulness lights the way. He walks beside you, goes before you, and guards you from behind. When you bear the mark of God's faithfulness, you carry a testimony. Others see his consistency in your life and are drawn to the God who never fails. Your story becomes a living declaration of his goodness, a reminder to the world that God keeps his word. And as you trust in his faithfulness, you grow stronger, your faith deepens, and your life becomes a reflection of his enduring promise. God's love is transformational, a mark so profound that it has the power to reshape your entire existence. It is not a fleeting emotion or a conditional favor, but an everlasting, unconditional commitment. God's love reaches into the depths of your soul, finding you in your brokenness, your mistakes, and your pain, and lifts you to a place of healing, restoration, and purpose. This love is not earned, it is given freely, a gift from a creator who knows you completely and still chooses you unreservedly. God's love does not wait for you to be perfect. It meets you where you are at your lowest, in your shame, in your doubts, and embraces you without hesitation. It does not matter what you have done or how far you feel from him. His love is relentless. He pursues you not to condemn, but to save, not to judge, but to transform. It is a love that breaks down barriers, overcomes failures, and rewrites the narrative of your life. This love transforms not only how you see yourself, but also how you live. When you understand that you are loved by God, it changes everything. You no longer live from a place of insecurity or fear, because you know you are valued beyond measure. You are no longer defined by the opinions of others or the mistakes of your past, because his love defines you. It gives you a new identity as a child of God, chosen, forgiven, and set apart. God's love is not passive, it is active and sacrificial. It is the kind of love that sent his son to the cross, not because we deserved it, but because he saw our worth even when we couldn't see it ourselves. This love heals wounds that no human hand can touch. It fills the emptiness that no earthly relationship can satisfy. It restores what was lost and rebuilds what was broken, giving beauty for ashes and joy in place of mourning. When God's love marks you, it also calls you to love others. This love is not meant to be kept to yourself. It is meant to flow through you to the world around you. It teaches you to forgive, even when it's hard, because you have been forgiven. It teaches you to show grace because you have received grace. It compels you to serve, to give, and to live selflessly because that is how God loves. God's love is the foundation of every other mark he places on your life. It is the reason he gives you purpose, the reason he brings order, and the reason he is faithful. His love is the unshakable truth that anchors you through every storm, the light that guides you in the darkest moments, and the power that transforms you from the inside out. When you bear the mark of his love, your life becomes a reflection of his heart, a living testimony of a love that has no limits and no end. Wisdom is one of the most profound marks of God, a divine attribute that reveals his infinite understanding and insight into all things. God's wisdom is not like human wisdom, which is limited and often flawed. It is perfect, pure, and transcends all comprehension. When he marks you with his wisdom, it becomes a guiding light in your life, illuminating paths that once seemed impossible and providing clarity in situations that once left you confused. His wisdom is not just a gift, it is an invitation to align your thoughts, decisions, and actions with his eternal perspective. The evidence of God's wisdom is all around you. Look at the complexity of creation, how the stars are positioned in the vastness of the universe, how ecosystems thrive in harmony, and how the human body is intricately designed to function with precision. This is not the product of chance, but the result of divine wisdom. If God poured such careful thought into the details of creation, how much more does he pour into the details of your life? His wisdom ensures that nothing is wasted and everything has a purpose, even the trials and challenges you face. When God's wisdom marks your life, it changes the way you perceive challenges. What others see as obstacles, you begin to see as opportunities for growth and refinement. His wisdom allows you to discern what is truly important and to let go of distractions that pull you away from his plan. It helps you navigate difficult decisions with confidence, knowing that you are being guided by the one who knows the end from the beginning. His wisdom teaches you to wait when rushing forward would lead to harm, and to act boldly when hesitation would cause you to miss his timing. This mark of wisdom also transforms your relationships. It teaches you how to speak words that bring healing instead of harm, how to respond with patience instead of anger, and how to extend grace even when it is undeserved. Wisdom from God is not about intellect or cleverness. It is about applying divine principles in every aspect of your life. It allows you to build strong foundations, whether in your family, your career, or your ministry, because you are no longer relying on your understanding, but on God's. God's wisdom also brings peace. When you trust in his understanding, you no longer feel the need to control everything. You realize that even when you don't have all the answers, he does. His wisdom assures you that he is working behind the scenes, orchestrating every detail for your good. This peace frees you from the anxiety of trying to figure everything out on your own and allows you to rest in the confidence that his plan is perfect. When you carry the mark of God's wisdom, it becomes evident to those around you. People begin to notice the calmness in your decisions, the depth in your words, and the strength in your convictions. They see a reflection of God's character in the way you live, and they are drawn to the source of your wisdom. Your life becomes a testimony of what happens when you are led not by your own understanding, but by the infinite wisdom of the Creator. This mark is not just for you, it is a light for others, guiding them to the one who is the ultimate source of all wisdom. Peace, as a mark of God, is not simply the absence of conflict or the quietness of a moment. It is a profound, unshakable state of being that comes from his presence. This peace is not dependent on circumstances, nor is it fragile or fleeting. It is a divine assurance that anchors your soul even in the midst of chaos. When God marks you with his peace, it becomes a fortress around your heart and mind, guarding you from the storms of life and giving you the ability to stand firm when everything around you is crumbling. This peace begins with reconciliation, first with God and then with yourself. When you are at peace with God, knowing that your sins have been forgiven and that you are fully accepted as his child, a deep sense of rest fills your spirit. You no longer carry the weight of guilt or shame, for his peace lifts the burden. This peace comes from knowing that you are loved unconditionally and that nothing can separate you from his love. It flows from the understanding that you are secure in his hands, no matter what the future holds. When God's peace marks your life, it transforms the way you handle adversity. The world may tell you to panic, to fear, or to fight, but his peace whispers, "Be still." This is the peace that allowed Jesus to sleep in the storm while his disciples were consumed by fear. It is the peace that steadied David as he faced Goliath, the peace that strengthened Daniel in the lion's den, and the peace that empowered Paul and Silas to sing in prison. It is a supernatural calm that defies human understanding, a confidence that God is in control even when life seems out of control. God's peace is also a guide. It helps you discern the right path when you are faced with choices. If a decision brings unrest, His peace will warn you to step back. If a direction aligns with His will, His peace will affirm it, even if the path seems uncertain. This peace acts as a compass, steering you away from confusion and towards clarity, from doubt and into faith. It is His way of keeping you aligned with His perfect plan. This mark of peace is contagious. When you carry God's peace, it radiates from you and affects those around you. In a world filled with anxiety, fear, and division, people will notice the calmness in your spirit and be drawn to it. They will wonder how you can remain unshaken in the face of trials, and your life will become a testimony of God's sustaining power. His peace in you becomes a ministry, an invitation for others to seek the same source of calm and assurance. God's peace also equips you to be a peacemaker. When you are marked by His peace, you carry it into every situation and relationship. You no longer react with anger or hostility because His peace gives you the strength to respond with grace. You become a bridge builder, someone who brings reconciliation and harmony where there was once division. This is not weakness, it is strength under control, a reflection of God's heart for unity and restoration. Ultimately, God's peace is a gift that transcends this world. It reminds you that your life is not confined to earthly struggles, but is anchored in an eternal hope. This peace reassures you that God's promises are true, that He is faithful to complete what He has started in you, and that His plans for you are good. It allows you to walk through life with confidence, not because everything is perfect, but because you are perfectly held by the one who gives peace that surpasses all understanding. Joy is one of the most extraordinary marks of God, an inner strength that transcends happiness and is not dictated by external circumstances. It is the kind of joy that runs deep, unaffected by the trials and hardships of life. Unlike the fleeting emotions of happiness which come and go based on situations, the joy of God is steadfast. It is a divine gift, one that cannot be manufactured by human effort or created by external achievements. It is rooted in the understanding that God is in control, that His love is constant, and that His promises are true. When God marks you with His joy, it becomes a wellspring within you, bubbling up even in the most difficult seasons. This joy is not the absence of sorrow, rather, it exists alongside it, offering a deeper peace and strength to endure hardship. The Apostle Paul spoke of rejoicing in the Lord always, even in moments of suffering, because joy is not dependent on what we see with our eyes or feel in the moment. It is anchored in the eternal truth that no matter what we face, God is with us. His joy becomes a sustaining force that gives you the strength to persevere, even when the road ahead is uncertain. This joy is what allows you to find hope when things seem hopeless, to see light in the darkest of times, and to rejoice even when the world around you may be falling apart. The joy of the Lord is a mark that defines the believer's life, making them distinct in the world. In a world filled with anxiety, despair, and discouragement, God's joy in your life stands as a testimony of His power and presence. People will notice the joy that radiates from you when they see you stand firm, unshaken, and at peace in the midst of trials. It is not a joy that makes sense from a human perspective, but it is a joy that comes from the assurance that God's purposes are being worked out, even in the challenges you face. It is this joy that helps you overcome bitterness, frustration, and anger, because it shifts your focus from your circumstances to the unshakable promises of God. This joy is also a source of strength. The Bible says that the joy of the Lord is your strength, meaning that when you embrace God's joy, it empowers you to face life with courage and resilience. It gives you the ability to keep moving forward even when you feel exhausted. The joy of the Lord strengthens your faith, enabling you to trust in His goodness even when things don't make sense. It is in this joy that you find the endurance to run the race set before you, knowing that God is with you every step of the way. Moreover, God's joy is contagious. When you are marked by His joy, it spills over into every area of your life. It affects your relationships, your work, and your ministry. People are drawn to that joy and they want to know the source of it. This joy becomes a testimony of God's goodness, a living declaration of His grace. It opens doors to share the gospel and to point others toward the source of true joy, Jesus Christ. As you experience His joy, you become a conduit of it, helping to spread the light of His love to the world around you. Joy also leads to gratitude. When you are filled with the joy of the Lord, your heart overflows with thankfulness. You begin to see all of life through a lens of gratitude, grateful for the small blessings, for the beauty in the everyday, and for the goodness of God that surrounds you. This gratitude strengthens your relationship with God as you acknowledge His hand in every detail of your life. Even when you don't have everything you want, you recognize His provision, His care, and His presence, and that fuels your joy even more. The joy that comes from God is not something that can be taken away. It is a mark that remains in you, regardless of what happens around you. Even when the world says you should be upset or discouraged, God's joy within you is a reminder that there is more to life than what meets the eye. It keeps you focused on His eternal purposes, His unwavering love, and His perfect plans for your life. When you are marked by His joy, you live with a hope that cannot be shaken, a peace that cannot be disturbed, and a strength that cannot be diminished. Strength as a mark of God is not merely physical power or the ability to endure hardships. It is a supernatural force that flows from His Spirit into your inner being, empowering you to face any challenge, to overcome any obstacle, and to fulfill the divine purpose for which you were created. But this strength is not based on your own abilities or resources, but on the infinite power of God, who equips you to do far more than you could ever imagine. When God marks you with His strength, it becomes a constant presence in your life, enabling you to press on when you feel weak, to stand firm when everything around you seems to be falling apart, and to accomplish the impossible because you are relying on His might rather than your own. This strength is most evident when you find yourself in moments of weakness, for it is in these moments that God's power is made perfect. The Apostle Paul wrote about his own weakness, acknowledging that it was in his vulnerability that God's strength was most evident. God's strength is not about avoiding difficulties, it is about being empowered in the midst of them. When you feel you cannot go on, God's strength lifts you, carries you, and enables you to keep moving forward. It is in the challenges of life, the times when you are pressed on every side, that God's strength is revealed in the most powerful way. God's strength also comes with endurance. Life is full of battles. Some are fought in the realm of the mind, others in our relationships, and some in the physical world. But God's strength gives you the ability to endure, to keep fighting, and to finish the race He has set before you. It strengthens your resolve, helps you stay focused on the goal, and prevents you from quitting when the journey gets tough. This strength is not about speed or comfort, it is about perseverance. It is the strength to keep going when you feel like giving up, knowing that you are not alone and that God is with you every step of the way. Moreover, the strength that God provides enables you to overcome fear and doubt. The world may tell you to be afraid, to shrink back from challenges, or to doubt your ability to succeed. But when God's strength marks your life, fear loses its grip on you. You are empowered to face what others cannot, to step into situations that seem impossible, and to walk by faith rather than by sight. The strength that comes from God removes the limitations of your own fears and gives you the courage to rise above them. When God strengthens you, you stand tall in the face of adversity, not because you are confident in your own abilities, but because you are confident in His. This strength also transforms the way you handle opposition. When you are marked by God's strength, you understand that the battle is not yours to fight alone. It is His strength that empowers you to stand against the forces of darkness, to overcome the challenges that come your way, and to rise above the criticisms and opposition of others. The strength of God enables you to remain calm in the midst of a storm, to speak with boldness when others are silent, and to act with wisdom when the world is filled with confusion. His strength gives you the grace to love those who oppose you, to forgive those who hurt you, and to continue moving forward, knowing that no weapon formed against you will prosper. God's strength also equips you for service. He empowers you to do what He has called you to do, to fulfill your destiny and purpose in this world. His strength helps you carry out His assignments, even when they seem daunting or beyond your abilities. It gives you the power to serve others selflessly, to give of yourself without exhaustion, and to persevere in the work He has called you to. His strength is a source of constant replenishment, allowing you to keep giving, keep loving, and keep serving, no matter how demanding the task may be. Finally, the strength that marks your life reflects the glory of God. It becomes a testimony to the world that you are not living by your own power, but by the power of the Almighty. It is a witness to those around you that there is a strength greater than human ability, a strength that comes from God and is available to all who trust in Him. When you are marked by God's strength, your life becomes a living declaration of His power, grace, and glory. It draws people to the source of that strength, to the one who strengthens and sustains you through every season of life. Peace, as a mark of God, transcends any understanding that the world can offer. It is not the absence of conflict or the quiet of a tranquil environment. Rather, it is an inner calm and wholeness that comes only from the presence of the Almighty. When God marks you with His peace, it is a deep, abiding assurance that no matter what storm is raging around you, you are anchored in Him. This peace is not circumstantial. It is not dependent on the calmness of your environment or the resolution of your problems. It is a divine peace that surpasses all understanding, a peace that cannot be shaken by the trials of life because it is rooted in the eternal, unchanging nature of God. This peace is a gift from the Holy Spirit, and it is meant to be the hallmark of every believer's life. The world often searches for peace in fleeting pleasures, in the pursuit of material success, or in avoiding conflict. But true peace can only be found in relationship with God. Jesus Himself promised that He would give us His peace, not as the world gives, but a peace that is permanent and profound. It is a peace that comes from knowing that God is sovereign, that He is in control of all things, and that nothing can separate you from His love. When you are marked by this peace, you are not swayed by the opinions of others, the chaos of your circumstances, or the uncertainties of the future. Instead, you are firmly rooted in the reality that God's peace is a gift that sustains you through every season of life. This peace provides a sense of stability. Life often feels like a whirlwind. One moment you're facing joy, the next you're dealing with sorrow, and sometimes the circumstances seem to change so rapidly that it feels overwhelming. But God's peace in your life becomes your firm foundation. It keeps you steady, even when the world around you is in turmoil. It prevents you from being easily moved by circumstances, and it steadies your heart when fear and anxiety try to take over. This peace allows you to navigate through life's challenges with calm confidence, knowing that you are not relying on your own strength to survive, but on the steady, unshakable peace that comes from God. Moreover, this peace brings healing. It is not just an absence of tension, but a deep restoration of your mind, body, and soul. God's peace brings wholeness, restoring broken relationships, mending wounded hearts, and calming troubled spirits. The peace of God is healing to the soul, providing comfort in times of grief, reassurance in times of uncertainty, and relief in times of stress. When you are marked by God's peace, it becomes a healing balm for your life. It removes bitterness, resentment, and anger, replacing them with forgiveness, love, and grace. It heals the wounds of the past and gives you the strength to move forward into a future of hope and restoration. This peace also enables you to be a peacemaker in the world around you. When you are filled with God's peace, it flows through you to others. You become an instrument of reconciliation, helping to restore relationships that have been broken, bringing calm to situations of conflict, and spreading peace wherever you go. The peace of God in your life empowers you to be a source of unity in your family, community, and workplace. It compels you to seek peace and pursue it, to be a reflection of God's love in your interactions with others. People will notice this peace in you, and it will draw them to the source of that peace, the Prince of Peace Himself, Jesus Christ. God's peace also enables you to live without fear. Fear is often the enemy of peace, but when you are marked by God's peace, fear loses its grip on you. The Bible tells us that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. The peace of God removes anxiety and worry, replacing them with trust and assurance. You no longer have to be consumed with what ifs or be paralyzed by the unknown. Instead, you can walk forward in faith, knowing that the peace of God is guarding your heart and mind. This peace allows you to approach each day with confidence because you know that God is with you and that His peace will guide you through any challenge that comes your way. Furthermore, God's peace gives you the ability to rest. In a world that never seems to slow down, where the pressure to succeed, to perform, and to keep up with the demands of life can be overwhelming, the peace of God offers a sanctuary. It is a peace that invites you to come to Him, to cast your cares upon Him, and to find rest for your soul. When you are marked by God's peace, you are no longer burdened by the constant striving for approval or success. You can rest in the knowledge that you are loved by God, that His grace is sufficient, and that He is your provider. This peace restores your soul, gives you rest in the midst of a restless world, and refuels you for the work and calling He has placed on your life. Finally, God's peace acts as a shield against the chaos and unrest in the world. It serves as a guard over your heart and mind, protecting you from being overwhelmed by the negativity, fear, and turmoil that often pervades the world. In times of global crisis, personal difficulties, or even emotional struggles, the peace of God keeps you calm and steady. It is a mark that sets you apart, a testimony to the world that you are not subject to the same fears, anxieties, and worries that plague so many others. You are anchored in the peace of God, and nothing can shake you from that foundation. When you are marked by God's peace, it becomes a reflection of His presence in your life, a powerful witness to His sustaining power and eternal love. In conclusion, the marks of God upon our lives are not merely attributes or qualities that we strive for. They are divine gifts bestowed upon us by the Creator, shaping us into vessels of His purpose, power, and glory. When God marks us, we are transformed in ways that the world cannot understand, and we reflect His greatness through wisdom, love, strength, peace, and the fullness of His nature. These marks are not only evident in our personal lives, but also become a testimony to the world around us of the transformative power of God's presence. Each of these marks, wisdom, love, strength, peace, equips us to rise above the challenges we face, to overcome adversity, and to live in alignment with our divine purpose. We are called to carry these marks with humility, recognizing that they are not of our own doing, but are given by God to reflect His glory in the earth. As we walk in these marks, we shine as examples of His power, grace, and love, drawing others to His kingdom. So let us embrace these marks, knowing that they are a reflection of the Almighty at work in us. And may our lives be a living testimony to the greatness of the God who has marked us for a purpose far greater than we can imagine.